In 2015, I made a decision that totally changed my life forever. And on January 6th, 2016, I arrived in the cold, snowy, -8 degrees of Berlin in Germany, about to embark on what was unknowingly to me going to lead to the craziest next 3.5 years of my life.
So why exactly Germany? What's so special about it? What can it offer me? Is the language really that hard?
So Germany really is just one of those places that has something for everyone, and I guarantee you, no matter what you're into, no matter what you do for work or what you want to study, there are so many fantastic opportunities, and there's a reason why, even though I live in England now, I just get taken back to Germany and I go back there any opportunity I have. And everyone I ask feels the same way. No matter how much time they've spent there, they always seem to find a way back. And for me, it will always hold a special place in my heart because it really has those foundational roots to my life now, to who I am as a person, and it is the place where I really found who I was and what my purpose in life was. And I just want to say, first and foremost, a huge thank you to the sponsors of this video, Deutschland.de. Guys, if you have ever traveled abroad or moved abroad and you've been looking for that website that offers information not only on political, financial, socio-economic news, but also has things on study life, work life, the opportunities that are there, and just general news about life and language and culture, then check out the website. You'll find all the links below. And other than that, guys, I hope you're ready for an adventure back in time. Let's get to it. Los geht's. So as most of you know, I am now experiencing the wonderful life of being a full-time student again. I am here in England studying, but for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you will know that I also studied in Germany, and that was a time actually where I was also working, and I started my own business, which I now run. So my life right now revolves around balancing a full-time load of study plus running 2 YouTube channels, plus having the normal social life, fitness, going out, traveling and working, having Aufträge as a freelancer. And I have to say, all of the roots of all of this and where my life is now all started back in 2016 when I was an exchange student in Germany. And I think I definitely have had many insights that I want to share with you guys, because obviously I've studied now in 3 countries, which are Australia, Germany and England, and there are definitely some really good tips and huge differences from my experiences that all stemmed from what I learned from studying in Germany. So what was my experience like studying in Mannheim? What were the biggest differences, I guess, to other countries that I've studied in? And in general, what are the things you need to know? That's what I'm about to answer for you guys. So first and foremost, let's get to the most important thing, because before we do anything, how are we going to finance it? So when I did my exchange in Germany, I financed it in a number of different ways. Now, I was someone at the time, I was working as a waitress in Australia, so I didn't have a huge income. My parents didn't really fund my trip at all. They helped me buy my ticket, but that was it. I don't come from a super wealthy family or anything. And so I was lucky enough that my university had a kind of fund that they give you to travel abroad, or it's like a loan, so you do have to pay it back. So I got that for the 2 semesters, so it was $6,500, I think, or $6,200. So roughly converted, I think at the time it was like 4,300 euros, something like that. So I had that for the 2 semesters, and I also applied for a BWS scholarship, so the stipendium, and I got that just for my 2nd semester. So that was really helpful, and I think from that I got about 1,500 euros, if I'm not mistaken. This was a little while ago, so I'm not 100% sure what it's like now, but there are definitely scholarships out there, either from the government, from the universities, or for example DAAD, which is all around the world, definitely has scholarships out there. So have a look into them, because it just makes your life so much easier, because the last thing you want to be doing really is stressing out about money. I know what that feels like. I think a lot of us go through it just in day-to-day life, but definitely look out for scholarships and don't ever hesitate to apply for them, because the worst thing that will happen, they just say no. So the other thing that you can do is get a part-time job. So I was very lucky when I went over to Germany. So as an EU citizen, if you decide to study in another EU country, you do at the moment have that flexibility of being able to work without needing a visa. But the good thing is as well, living in the society that we live in now, if you haven't looked into it before, definitely think about doing stuff like freelancing, or waitressing is also a pretty simple and fun job to get. That's what I did when I studied at Mannheim. And I really can't stress enough how valuable it is to have those like native experiences in Germany if you are thinking about moving there, because I definitely found that having spent a year on my kind of exchange program definitely helped me prepare better for kind of proper life in Berlin, and I knew how the system worked, what I had to do for taxes and health insurance and all those types of things. So it's definitely worthwhile. And also as an exchange student, you'll find, or this is what I found anyway, I didn't have that many contact hours. So in Adelaide, for example, I think I was at uni for like 16 hours a week, and in Mannheim I only really had like 5. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this is new. And of course you do have to study and prepare for lectures and things like that and do readings. So I studied law and some linguistic subjects, and in the first semester I also had German language. So those were my subjects over the whole year. I'll show you a list here of what I did. But yes, the 2 areas were law and linguistics. And at the end of the semester, all we had was just a written exam. So we didn't really have any, real formative work to do or any kind of essays and things to submit, except for one subject, which was this group essay. And that was in the second semester. But imagine like a whole year, you're just going to class once a week, and then you have an exam to write, and that's it. And you spend like 2 weeks studying for that exam. But I was really lucky because my timetable was also scheduled in a way that I had kind of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So it was the perfect opportunity to travel around, and even like traveling within Germany was so incredible because you get things like discounts for the Deutsche Bahn, so you can get a Bahn card. And things in general for students are so much cheaper. You just show your student card. So that's something that you guys should definitely be aware of. Use your student card everywhere you go. And you can travel around Germany really easily with things like BlaBlaCar as well. Flixbus I've used so many times. And if you're a lover of traveling, or you just like decide once you're there you really want to travel around, there are so many options. And the other thing about studies that I found really intriguing was this idea about a mündliche Prüfung. So I don't know about you guys, but in Australia, well, particularly for law and subjects like that, we just have like an open book exam. So at the end of the semester, you sit there, you have a 3-hour exam, and you can take all of your books into the exam, but it's a written exam in like a whole exam hall thing. And in Germany, I think for 3 of my subjects, I had an oral exam. So eine mündliche Prüfung, oral exam, and you kind of go in. It's either you by yourself or with another student. This was for Zivilrecht, so civil law. Went in there, had 2 examiners. My friend and I were there, and we were allowed to take our BGB, our book in there, and that was it. So I think it definitely has its bonuses and plus sides, because they don't mark you as harshly compared to when you're doing a written exam, because obviously you have the time to think about things. So it was very cool experience. And the final point about studying in Germany, the social life. Now, having been in Mannheim, it was definitely a great student city. So you had clubs there like Cubes, and they had events like the uni itself. There were so many student societies that would host events every week. So on Mondays, I would go to an event which was run, I think, by the Erasmus team, or just kind of the Austausch people, the people that took care of the exchange students. And it was really cool because they had all sorts of events for Valentine's Day, for Easter, for Halloween, I guess, as well. and there would be themes, but every Monday you would go there and it would be an awesome opportunity to practice your language skills, and not just for like speakers of German, speakers of English or whatever, like people from all over the place. And also there was a tandem community, and I know that all over Germany you will find tandem groups, so groups of international people that want to practice their German skills and Germans who want to practice other languages. So definitely check those out. You can find them easily on Facebook. There's also the Tandem language app, which I mentioned in previous videos. So have a look at those if you want to improve your language skills, because there's always someone out there who wants to learn the language that you speak, or one of the languages that you speak. And there were always student parties at the Schneckenhof, which was also really cool in summer. Although I'm not really like the biggest party goer, there's a really, really good social scene in Germany in general, and you will meet people everywhere, anywhere. Just look it up. And in terms of living, so I went there mit Absicht, like intentionally, in hopes of finding like a proper WG, which was, you know, I wanted to live with Germans so that I could practice my language skills, and boy did I practice my language skills. So for the first 2 weeks I lived in what is called a Studentenwohnheim, so it's just like student housing, and that wasn't really for me. So I started looking for WGs that I would move into, and I found a really, really cool place which I cannot like put into words how grateful I was for my apartment. For a year it was like my German family. They helped me so much. We helped each other. We had parties where, like an apartment with 4 bedrooms, we'd had like 70 people over for my birthday. You guys will see some of these photos. Oh, it was a great time. It was literally like the student life that you can imagine or you envision whenever you hear about student parties. And through them did I, of course, not only improve my German skills, and you learn words and phrases that you just would never ever learn in class. And like being in a situation, like a living situation with natives, I cannot recommend enough. Like, do it, just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. It's going to be uncomfortable, and it definitely was for me, because I remember sitting there, particularly for the first few months, and I just write down in my notebook all the things that I learned. Because think about it, every day you are coming into contact with new topics that you're learning about. Your housemates are going to be telling you about their days, or what they learned at uni, or the experiences they had with their friends, with their family, all these things. You're watching movies in German with them, you're watching TV shows with them, you're going out to events, and you're going to just learn so much, and it just enriches your life. It really does. And it was amazing, and I was really sad to leave. I never wanted to move out of there, but life goes on. And then later down the track, I of course moved back to Germany, and I also met my ex-boyfriend there during my exchange, who I then moved in with about 6 months later. So it was definitely one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I cannot recommend enough, guys. Any questions you have about studying in Germany, just let me know in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to help you answer your queries as well. And let's move on to the next topic now. When I moved back, it was really like a dream come true. I moved first back to Mannheim, and then we moved to Berlin. I was always in love with not only the German culture overall, but with Berlin. And the first time I ever visited Berlin, it just reconfirmed my dream and my goal of always wanting to live there. So when I was 14, I would cut out like pictures from those travel magazines you would get at like the Reisebüro, and I would put pictures of the cities that I wanted to visit, but most importantly the cities that I wanted to live in someday. And I took this picture of Berlin and I put it in a frame in my room, and I also got one of those like wallpaper things, and I had just the silhouette of Berlin in my room. And I always said, one day I am going to move to Berlin and I'm going to live there. And I cannot believe that my dream actually came true. And I guess I had completely different goals for my life back when I did that. And it's just crazy to think that having been in Germany itself and having studied in Mannheim, like I would not at all be where I am right now had I not gone on that exchange. You just never know how one decision, one trip, one meeting with someone is going to change your whole life forever. So Mannheim is what started my entrepreneurial journey, and moving to Berlin is kind of what expanded it and made it really come to life. So now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what it's like working as a Selbstständige in Berlin, because that's kind of the hip thing at the moment. But I've come into contact with a lot of people that moved to Berlin, and you will just meet so many people who are either freelancers or trying to make it in the art scene, in the creative scene, in the startup scene. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. So this one decision to move back to Germany and go to Berlin was definitely something I was not only truly grateful for, and I did everything possible to make that dream come to life, but it had really helped the fact that I kind of knew how the German system worked. I also had friends there who could help me, people that I gotten to know across the year that I was there, and it made my life definitely a lot easier, particularly with like knowing how the Anmeldung works, how the Abmeldung works, and Ummeldung and all those types of things. And it definitely gave me a lot of confidence in just setting my life up over there. I didn't feel like I was really setting up a new life, kind of just continuing one I had already started. And Berlin, guys, I cannot recommend enough. Like, Berlin is a dream. There is something there for everyone. Like, whenever anyone asks me, how would you describe Berlin? I would just say, well, which part of Berlin? There is everything from cabarets to operas to spoken word shows, sports, festivals, like, I don't know, food scene, amazing food, amazing coffee. Like, there is something there for everyone. And you know, there's a reason why I just keep going back to Berlin over and over. I'm going in 3 weeks again as well, and I went 2 weeks ago. So it's an amazing city. And being self-employed in Berlin, I went and of course first and foremost did my Gewerbe, which is like your, I don't know, kind of the documentation you need so that you can legally work for yourself. There are different types, so I think the number one thing I would definitely recommend is really, if your German is not that good, find someone like a native speaker who can help you out, because a lot of the information is in German on the website. And when you go to the Finanzamt to do all the documentation and paperwork, just make sure you bring all of the paperwork that you have, because I found myself having to go back, I think 2 or 3 times, because I'd forgotten every time like a piece of documentation that I needed. So definitely read through all of that carefully. But once you've done that and once you've set it all up, like, life in Berlin is just amazing. So just by living there and attending certain events and meeting certain people opened up so many business opportunities. I was working with diplomats and politicians. I was working with startups and teaching at startups, and with business people from all over the world, and opera singers, as you would know, Carla, who is one of my best friends now, people who've started their own companies, and all of those types of people are in Berlin. So if that's what you're into, and like the personal development scene, a lot of all of the big kind of events and speaking events, they all come to Berlin. I met Karl S., I met Dirk Kräuter. I've gotten to work with language apps like Babbel and actually go to the Babbel HQ. You guys can check out the video up there. I worked with the Tandem language app, which is also based in Berlin. I've been able to attend events like Expo Lingua, which I'll be going to very soon, and I went to it last year as well. And I've just been able to work with huge YouTubers as well. Like, all those people were at events that I was invited to because I lived in Berlin. And it really just opens up your world, and meeting all these people, you never know where your life's going to go from there. I was also invited to the YouTube space and was part of the YouTube space, and as well as attending things like Follow Languages Day, the Language Influencer Summit. Like, the list just goes on, guys. So if you are interested in studying, living, working, even just visiting Germany, don't hesitate to let me know your questions or if you need any help. And I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and make sure to like it if you did, subscribe to my channel to never miss out on anything from moi. And other than that, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Ciao!